you know, what I've gone through in these bathrooms. But to me, I'm just creating this harmonious space, because when I'm at home, I want that to be just harmony. So I have spared no expense and effort to just, I want to create this nirvana where I'm, you know, when I'm at home. So, interesting thing, I, on Monday, pressed the send button, which magically sent a manuscript up into the ethers and landed on the other side of the Holland Tunnel at my New York publisher, and sent my last draft, a final draft of my next book to them. And the book is called Risky is the New Safe, and it'll be out the third week of October. And I sent it Monday morning, and I didn't want to send it. I didn't want to let this one go. It's the hardest, it's my 9th book. It's the hardest one I've written. Gave me the most problems, gave me the most joy, but when it came time to send, I just didn't want to let it go. It was like a parent sending their kid off to college or something. So I even said, I'm going to go down and do one more workout in the gym on the elliptical and see if there's anything else possibly that I would want to change before I hit that send button. And then I sent it off about 10:30. 10:45, because I got an email from the editor saying, dude, we told you we have to have this morning. You know, we can wait till 11 o'clock at the latest, but if not, we're going to miss the deadlines. And so at about 10:45, I sent it off. So here's the premise of that book, which I think is really relevant to what we do here in this business, this company, and this world. I'm talking about the changes that are sweeping the globe, cataclysmic changes, which are just changing all the rules of everything. And this is actually going to be, this topic is going to be woven into my opening keynote that I'm going to do at this Agile World Convention in 68 days. And I looked at things, for the book I looked at things like technology. We're in the most cataclysmic, earth-shattering time for technological advance that there has ever been in human history. The speed of this change is accelerating. And it's going to cause a lot of challenges, a lot of problems, a lot of headaches, a lot of changes of things that we have to do different. But of course, the basic premise of everything in the book is look at all these challenges that are about to happen, and then look at all the opportunities that those challenges are going to create. Because of course, some of the greatest fortunes in human history were created in the Great Depression, 1929, 1930, 31, because when people are having problems, if you can find a way to make those problems go away, they will joyfully, gratefully, lovingly crawl naked over broken glass and throw money at you. You know, today's Saturday, right? It's Saturday morning. You woke up, let's say you woke up this morning with a wisdom tooth. It's impacted, it's infected, it's throbbing. You're just in excruciating pain. And what are you doing? You're saying, I gotta find a dentist who will meet me on a Saturday and make this go away. You're not looking for early bird discounts. You're not looking for specials. You don't care about coupons. You just say, please make this go away. So if I said, well, let me tell you about the Agile Cares Foundation. We have these poor children in the Philippines, and they have cleft palate, and they need surgery, and they need your, you'd say, listen, I'm sorry, let me tell you about the starving kids in Haiti and Africa. You say, listen, I'm sorry, I want to help those kids, but right now, I just need to get this handled, and then talk to me about anything else. You're just, okay? So the premise of the book is when everybody is zigging, you got to be zagging, because this is where the opportunities are made. So we look for challenges, we solve those challenges, and those are where the greatest, most lucrative opportunities lie. So if you look at technology, Miami, we have 200 cable channels, I think, on my cable system. People say, where's it, it's gonna be 300, it's gonna be 500, how many channels will there be on a cable system? Well, one thing I've discovered studying prosperity for 25 years is that if you ask the wrong question, the answer doesn't matter. So the question is not how many channels can there be on a cable system, or how many channels are going to be on a cable system, because that's not even the right question. Because cable channels versus broadcast network channels versus internet created content, those three categories will no longer be categories, because the lines are just going to disappear. Now, even the film studios don't know this yet. Even the networks don't know this yet. The networks think, well, we need to surf YouTube and find our next television star on YouTube. And YouTube doesn't even know this, because they're saying, well, we need to create our own stars on YouTube, and we're going to fly 100 people into California, and we're going to set them up in their own channel, and we're going to give them advice on how to grow their channel. But see, not only is the distinction between, because you don't really care. If there's an amazing show, I was on the treadmill yesterday morning in Indianapolis, and I saw a guy, and I just switching through, I'm on the treadmill and I'm clicking through trying to find Baseball Tonight or Sports Center to find out, what the Marlins did the night before. And I get this guy, and he's screaming and swearing about gun control. And I'm like, this is weird, but they had a direct TV, so it was like a satellite. So it was Connect? No, what's that channel that Al Gore started? Is
Current.
It might have been that one. I think it might have been Current. So this guy's going, I'm like, wow, this was a fascinating show. Now, I didn't agree with everything this guy was saying, but it was very, thought-provoking, and I like things that cause me to think. So I watched it. It didn't matter to me that whether this was a satellite thing, a network thing, or a cable thing, or an internet thing. Why would I care? Yeah. Content is content, right? We think, okay, so I've got my smartphone. Well, we can do it. We could get a wristwatch with that screen. We have our tablets now. We love our iPads, which I've seen here today, and we love our laptops. And then, of course, we love our 5-6 feet wide HD televisions from Best Buy. But the line between all those screens, that's all going to disappear too. So because here's what's going to happen. It's not 200 channels or 500 channels. There's going to be 7 billion channels, because every person on Earth will simply create their own channel. They're going to say, I want the Seth Godin blog, I want Randy Gage's YouTube channel, I want all the new books from J.K. Rowling, all the new music from Maroon 5 and Neon Trees and so on, and I want my New York Stock Exchange price quotes here, and my Empire Avenue stock quotes, and I want my iTunes, and I want my Sirius satellite radio, and I want all the sequels for the Avengers, Superman and Batman, and I want the X Factor US, UK, and lunar editions. I want the, this show, that show. You're going to set up your whole channel, your whole network, and you'll order pilots, and you'll order season-long of things, and you'll order sporting events and concert events, and instead of saying 8 o'clock on Fox, it'll say click to get now. And you just click to get now, whatever, and you won't care whether it was broadcast or cable or internet. It's content. And the screen will be on your watch when you need it on your watch, and it'll be on your smartphone when you need it on your smartphone. And when you get in the car, it's going to be in that screen, on the GPS screen on your car. And when you walk in your living room, it's going to be on your 16-foot wide HD TV, which covers your whole living room wall. When you go sit down at your desk, it's going to migrate to your computer. And you're not going to have to plan all that. It's just going to follow you, either from the microchip in your head or the microchip in your watch, or it's probably just going to come from the cloud. And that's what's going to happen until, of course, Google's glasses come out. Yeah. And then all those screens go away because nobody needs those screens anymore. When everybody's zigging, you got to be zagging. So all those things that are go here could go bust down here when this comes out. And those Google glasses that are gonna do the most amazing thing, they could just go bust when somebody comes up with the contact lens microchip that replaces the Google glasses. Until people realize, well, I can't watch 6 screens at a time like I used to do with satellite TV, and then maybe the pendulum swings back the other way, and they go to satellite TV with screens. There are things that are cyclical things. Price of real estate in Manhattan, it's going to be cyclical. Sometimes it's going to go up, sometimes it's going to go down. There are linear things. If we take expansion of broadband, that's linear, that's not cyclical, it's just going to continue to become more and more accessible, it's going to continue to be more and more economical. If we take processing speed of computers, that's not cyclical, that is just linear, almost exponential. We know, I mean, everything technology, you know, I have a $200 HD flip cam that I do my YouTube channel videos on. And that camera for $200 does everything that a camera that cost $75,000 did 10 years ago. That's just how technology works. That's a linear thing. Now, there are soft trends and there are hard trends. A buddy of mine is a guy named Dan Burris. He wrote a brilliant book called Flash Foresight. And he gave an example of a soft trend. He was tracking, he actually made charts of the number of Elvis impersonators in the world. And he did a chart, he did this a year after Elvis's death. So he did a chart of the year or two before Elvis died, when Elvis died, and then the year following his death. And he showed the growth of the number of Elvis impersonators in the world. And if you looked at that chart, I forget the exact year, say it's 2015, but he said if we keep at this trend, it's proof that by the year 2015, every single person on earth will be an Elvis impersonator. Right? Well, why did that not happen? Because it's a cyclical thing. That was obviously, people were moved, touched by his death. It was very emotional, that spiked interest in the king. And you know, so if you looked at the numbers, you could take charts and graphs and PowerPoint slides and, you know, flip charts. You could have made all kind of presentations that would prove that by a certain point, every person on earth would be a Elvis impersonator. But that was a soft trend, not a hard trend. So the point I'm making in the book is that there's a lot of things that you don't need to be a gypsy, you don't need to be a fortune teller, you don't need a crystal ball, you don't need mythical Jedi powers. There are things in the future which are eminently predictable. So if you look at the technology, for instance, the things we've just talked about, with where that's going, what does this mean? It means that millions of jobs are going to be displaced by technology. They're going to be eliminated forever. Because, you know, we've talked about video store clerk jobs, right? Those jobs are never coming back. Travel agency clerks, those jobs are never coming back. But that is like the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg where we're going. Because we're going to be going into a point really soon, I'm not talking 30 years in the future, I'm talking really soon, where we might lose 8 million jobs a month because of technology. We're coming into a point where we might lose millions of jobs a month that have to be retrained because of technology. How do you become a police detective now? Well, right now, you probably walk a beat, you drive a patrol car. That's the training to become a police detective. Well, at some point, to become a police detective, you're going to need a degree in bioengineering and DNA and, you know, all of those kind of sciences, because that's really what detective work is going to be about. So if you're a detective who's been doing the job for 20 years and you want to remain doing the job the next 20, you'll probably have to retrain yourself. You know, my sister-in-law, she lives here in New Jersey, in Andover, wherever that is. She hasn't worked in 15 years, okay? because she retired, she was in the Navy, and then but she worked on the side, and she hasn't had that job for 50, because you know what her job was? She was a typesetter. So if you wanted to make a poster, you went to her, and she got rubber, letters, and put them in rows, and locked them in, and then she would give them on a plate, and you'd give it to the printer, and the printer, well, is that job coming back anytime soon? I don't think so. I don't think this is a really not. So you're a parent now. You got a 12-year-old, you got a 14-year-old, you got a 16-year-old. You say, I want to prepare them for the future. This is almost impossible, because the greatest jobs of 2018, they haven't even been invented yet. They haven't even been invented yet, because the technology is changing so fast. Now, we can take some things and we can make some very predictable assumptions on, if we look at where technology goes. But the point is, millions of jobs will be eliminated, millions of jobs will need retraining. The guy who works pick and pack in a warehouse. I was watching a special on Nat Geo last week about exoskeletons. And they built these whole computerized exoskeletons that people can wear. I saw a guy throw a car off a cliff, lift it up, because he's wearing an exoskeleton, and it's set to balance the weight, and so now people can carry things for 400 or 500 pounds. So if you're the guy working in the warehouse at Amazon or the warehouse at whatever, pick and packing, your promotion may be determined by your ability to work in this exoskeleton suit. Just like the best guy to be a heart transplant surgeon 10 years from now might be your 12-year-old kid who's really good at Angry Birds. Because 10 years from now, heart transplant surgery is probably going to be done with a joystick in the control room. And the kids who are so good with texting and the internet and videos and video games are going to be the best heart surgeons. Because he'll be in a control room, the patient will be on the other side in the operating room, or the patient will be 4,000 miles away in an operating room. In New Delhi or in Kuala Lumpur or in Honduras, right? It won't matter, because this is where the technology goes. So imagine the opportunities that's going to be created by all these changes in technology. Then we have the financial markets, the governments, the fiscal part of the equation. What I'm saying in the book is that the euro will collapse within the next 2 to 3 years. And it's funny, now I'm worried that it'll collapse before the book gets published, right? When I wrote that on my blog 3 months ago, people thought I was a heretic. They thought I was crazy. I was insane to suggest such a thing. Now, 3 months later, people are like, yeah, that euro really does look shaky. Well, what's going to happen when the euro collapses? And it will collapse. Greece will opt out, Spain will opt out. I don't know who will opt out first, but somebody will, and then somebody will follow, and somebody else will follow. And then people are going to say, well, wait a minute, why? This doesn't make sense. It's not fair. Everybody doesn't have the same rules. And why would, if we managed our economy better, why would we tax our citizens even more and create even tougher austerity measures for our people in France or Germany, so we can send more money to Greece, because Greece promised their people that they could retire when they're 45 years old. So why should we tell our people, instead of retiring at 62, you have to work till 65, because we need to take some extra money so these poor people in Greece can retire at 45, because that's what their government promised them. How do you think that's going to go over in those countries that have it? I don't think it's going to work too well. I predict the euro will collapse. It'll disband. What will happen then? Countries will go back to their original currencies, and they will use that opportunity to devalue it to try to make up their budget shortfalls and their deficits. So they'll say at midnight, at 12:01, we go from the euro back to the Deutschmark, or the euro back to the franc, or the whatever, and there'll be a 30, 40, 50% devaluation, which means what people have worked 20, 30, 40 years for will be vaporized by 30, 40, 50% overnight. That will impact the dollar, the pound, the yen, the peso, every currency on earth. That will impact precious metals. I've been recommending gold and silver and platinum since gold was $100 an ounce. When it went to 300, people said, ooh, 500, they thought I was crazy because I didn't sell. 1,000, they said, this is it, bail out now, it can never go higher. Now it's at 1,500, people still telling me I'm crazy. Let me tell you, when you see the euro collapse, when you, by the way, three cities in California went bankrupt recently. You think cities can't go bankrupt? You think states can't go bankrupt? You think countries can't go bankrupt? You don't think Greece is bankrupt already? Portugal is bankrupt already? Spain is bankrupt? I mean, they haven't declared bankruptcy because they're getting the bailouts, but they're bankrupt. UK is bankrupt. United States of America, $15 trillion deficit? Are you kidding me? There's never been a country with a deficit that large since the Earth's crust cooled. Now you got these Keynesian economists who say, well, if the deficit is a percentage of GDP, it doesn't matter, or the rules change. No, the rules don't change. I've been teaching prosperity for 25 years. There are certain universal principles that you have to live by. Here's one of them. The only free cheese is in the mousetrap. You want to know, how would I sum up my whole philosophy of prosperity? How could I describe it? Very simple. The only free cheese is in the mousetrap. Okay? So you got a lot of governments who want to get reelected, so they're promising more free cheese. So you can see in France it started already. The socialists just got elected because they said, well, no, we got. And let me tell you, Paris is one of my favorite places in the world. I love to go to Paris. Best opera in the world, best shopping. There's a lot of amazing things. But it's like you can't even go anymore because half the city is on strike. This time it's the garbage people, next time it's the metro people, next time it's the airport, or the roof is falling in on the airport and landing on the people in the terminal, or it's just because basically 2-3 years ago the government went and said, okay, listen, we know we promised you these retirement programs, we know we promised you these pensions, we know we promised you this money would be there, but the truth is it's gone. The other governments before us already spent it, and it isn't going to be there for you. So we'd rather just tell you the truth now, you're not going to get it. So they're like, okay, we're going to go on strike until we get it. And the government says, okay, go on strike, but there's still no money, you're not going to get it. So where's it going to end up? I don't know. Would be rioting like it is in Greece? Probably. I don't know. But I do know you can't just keep kicking the can down the road. At some point, somebody has to pay the bills. Because the universal laws of prosperity are universal laws of prosperity. Just because you don't like gravity doesn't mean you can choose not to participate in it. It's still going to be here on the planet that circles a sun, a star. That's just the way that works. So even though you don't like it, you can read positive books, and you can do affirmations, and you can say, I choose not to participate in gravity. I'm a gravity-free person. Non-gravity is my middle name. It don't matter. Gravity is gravity. It's still there. So what's going to happen is millions more people are going to get thrown out of work as millions more companies go bankrupt by these mismanagement and malfeasance by governments. So so we're talking about these trends. Let's talk about Agile and how do they apply right now, right here, right now, to what we're talking about. Because the other thing that I say in the book is that I think we are about to enter the golden era of network marketing. 2013, 2014, 2015. I think we're entering, because you're looking at millions of people are going to lose their jobs because of technology. Millions of people are going to need to retrain in their jobs because of technology. Millions of people are going to lose their job because of the way government budget stuff. Millions more people are going to realize, I can't count on my government for my security. I can't count on my government for my Social Security or my retirement plan or whatever. Millions more people are going to realize, I can't count on my corporation for my retirement. I can't count on my 401k or my matching contributions from my corporation. You don't believe, go across the river and talk to somebody who worked for Delta Airlines. somebody who works for American Airlines, somebody who worked for US Airlines, okay? Talk to any of the guys at the airport. They'll tell you what happened when their pension retirement fund literally vaporized 50% of it overnight when their carrier filed for bankruptcy and they threw those pension things back on the government. So all those people, I mean, you're talking tens of millions of people are going to be facing these kind of decisions on a monthly basis. And a lot of those people are going to join network marketing. And that's why I say we're going to enter the golden era, because we may add 50 or 60 or 70 million new distributors to the profession in a year. It took us 60 years to go from 0 to $100 billion in sales for the profession. I think to go from 100 billion to 200 billion might be done in 15. I think to go from 200 billion to 400 billion, that might happen in 5 or 6 or 4 because of the exponential growth. You saw the slide that Cynthia did where it showed, you know, hey, here's Agile poised for exponential growth. Every company in our profession likes to talk about that. What I think is going to happen is I think the whole profession of network marketing is going to go into exponential growth. And you know what? That will help everybody. Amway, Nu Skin, Herbalife, Prepaid Legal, Agile, Avon, all the direct selling companies, any home-based business, any residual income, anything where you're taking care of your own security, they're all going to benefit, okay? A rising tide raises all the ships, if they're in the water. You know, you got to be in the water. There's people that aren't in the water, but if you're in the water, I think all the network marketing companies, the legitimate, worked hard, built their foundation, they're in the water, I think they're all going to rise. I also think some are going to rise more than others. Why? Because again, it has to do with how you anticipate change and how you react or respond to changes that are happening. You know, one of the stories Dan Burris likes to tell is back in 1996, I think it was. He's speaking to the American Booksellers Association. He's their keynote speaker. And he says he tells these guys, listen, within 2 years, somebody is going to start an online book selling service. And they're going to mop the floor with people who are still married to the bricks and mortar model. Now, that could be started by one of you in this audience. He told them, you know, there's 10,000 members of that association. He said, but it probably won't be, because you're invested in the bricks and mortar model. That's, you know, that billions of dollars tied up in stores all over the world and all that infrastructure and warehouses and shipping and all of that. And it was 2 years later that Jeff Bezos, an outsider, started Amazon. And I think you'll see the same thing as we go into the golden era of network marketing. Some of these 40, 50, 60-year-old companies, they're still married to, hey, you get some people over to your house, you invite them for dinner, just when they're expecting you to bring out the dessert, you wheel out the whiteboard and you start drawing circles. They're doing the business the same way they were doing it in 1976. You know, the other thing the other big huge trend you're seeing is, and why I say network marketing is going to enter the golden era, is look at retail. Retail is this broken model. The retail model was designed 250 years ago when stuff was produced in the old country. It got on a boat, went across the boat to America. Those ships docked at places like New York here and Boston and places like that. And then it went by stagecoach across the country. And it ended up in general stores, and then people went in the general stores and bought it. And of course, boats switched to planes, and stagecoaches switched to trains, and then to 18-wheelers, and general stores turned into family stores, and family stores turned into department stores, and department stores turned into mega shopping malls. But the basic model is still the same from 250 years ago. And in fact, I argue in the book, you could say it even got more complex. It devolved instead of evolved, because there's now a great deal more warehousers and rack jobbers and wholesalers and parasites in the middle of the process. Network marketing is such an elegant model, because a company like Agile manufactures a product like that, ships it to people who are in most cases the end consumer, and if they're not the end consumer, they're conversationally marketing the products to friends, associates, colleagues, relatives, through things like social media. And if you don't know how that works, you haven't been on Facebook in the last 5 years, right? So this is, the network marketing is the perfect model for this time. The retail model is still trying to do business the way they were in 1776. Is it any wonder that chain after chain after chain of retail stores has filed for bankruptcy? Go into a big box electronics retailer, if you can find one that's still open, and just mill around the electronics and the computer section and chat up people. I think you will be shocked at how many of them are using it as a virtual showroom for Amazon. Yeah. And they go in and they test drive the cameras and the products and the recorders and the HD TVs, and then they get on their smartphone and they go to Amazon with their Prime account with free shipping and discounts and auto ship and one-click ordering, and they're ordering their stuff now that they've seen it in the virtual showroom. Retail, it isn't dead. It'll always exist in some form, but it will have to change dramatically. I think you'll see a lot more of people like Apple and Andrew Christian, where the vast majority of their sales are done online, and then they have some iconic flagship stores that kind of solidify the brand in the mind of the consumer, but the real business is done over the net, right? So that changes everything. So you look at network marketing and you look and say, well who's going to rise them when the tide goes up? Which ships are going to do the best? And you say it's going to be emerging companies. It's going to be innovative companies. It's going to be companies that can not just be nimble to change, because here's the thing you got to understand. That's like every business consultant in the world is talking about, the nimble companies. Well, that don't work anymore because the change happens so fast. Being nimble isn't enough. It's like people write books on social media. They're writing a book on social media or Twitter or Facebook. By the time that book gets published, it's obsolete. That's just silly. Why would it's like a 9-month turnaround for most of those publishers. I've got mine on literally turning it around in 3 months, which is a lifetime, for publishing, because, they're used to taking a year and a half to turn a book around. So you can't just be a nimble company. You have to be a critical thinker. You have to be a contrarian. You have to say, well, where are these trends going? My friend Ken Dykewald, he's the guy who wrote the book, The Age Wave. Brilliant, brilliant guy. He uses this analogy when he's talking about the baby boomers. Everybody knows the story, right? The 80 billion baby boomers after World War II, and here's this thing most people don't know. Nobody was prepared. Never dawned on anybody that these soldiers who had been overseas, away from their spouse in the field of battle for a couple of years, might want to come home and immediately have sex. Okay? That never occurred to anybody. So all of a sudden, there was 80 million babies born 9 months after, the troops came home. And the diaper industry wasn't prepared for it. Nobody thought about that. There weren't enough preschools. There weren't enough kindergartens. Then there weren't enough grade schools. Then there weren't enough middle schools. Then there weren't enough high schools. And decade after decade, you could follow the progress of these baby boomers. There wasn't enough universities when they all were ready to go to college. So, the analogy that Ken uses is like, you could say the baby boomers were like an elephant charging across the decades, and all the marketers are running behind the elephant, shooting arrows in his butt. Where, a smart person would get out in front of the elephant and dig a really big hole, right? So here's the fascinating thing. So we got these 80 million baby boomers been gone. Do you know the elder care industry is not prepared for them? Retirement homes are not prepared for them. Hospice is not prepared for them. Obviously, Social Security is not prepared for them. I mean, none of, and they've had 60 years to figure this out. But people are not critical thinkers. People wait till things happen and then they react. And 5, 10 years from now, people say, wow, there's all these elderly people who need elder care. We need to build facilities. Why didn't anybody tell us? Right? So I'm telling you, millions and millions and millions of people are going to come into network marketing and other home-based business type of opportunities and things where they are their own boss and where they don't rely on the security of a corporate insecurity or the security of government insecurity, where they actually take charge of their own prosperity. So we are going to enter this golden age. And this is not, you don't need a crystal ball for this. This is a very predictable thing. And the people who are prepared for that are going to create extraordinary wealth. Listen, I'm very blessed with Agile. I've made $7 million with Agile since I started. You know what? 5 years from now, my check from Agile will seem small to what people, the leaders in Agile, are making because of the thing that we're going into over the next 5 years. So, and you don't have to be you don't have to go and make $2 million a year or $3 million a year with Agile. You might be really delighted if you made $15,000 a month, or if you made $10,000 a month, or if you made $40,000 a month. But we're going to have lots and lots and lots of people making those kind of incomes. So again, you say, oh, how do you pick the winners? How do you project who's going to do well in the new situation, in the new environment, in the new rules? And I say again, it's going to be like the booksellers and Amazon. You know, do I think it's going to be the 60-year-old companies who've been doing the business the same way for 60 years? Or do I think it's going to be a company who was the first one to open in 12 countries simultaneously and do international like nobody had done international, be in 65 countries in 5 years? Who seems more innovative there? Will it be the same, you know, the 800 companies that were stuck on stupid for 20 years, that every new product, we literally had a period of time for almost 20 years where every single new company that launched with a juice product. A magic berry that's grown on one half of one mountain somewhere, or is grown in the rainforest here or the mountain there, and all the indigenous people eat this berry, and everybody lives to be 180 years old, and nobody dies, and everybody's healthy. And you notice these berries are never grown in New Jersey, okay, or Cleveland, or Wisconsin, or anywhere that you can see them. You know, it's always Fiji and Tahiti, and you know, the Brazilian rainforest on the top of this mountain. Well, I have been to Tahiti, and people are not drinking Tahitian noni juice in Tahiti. I'm just telling you, okay? That stuff's like $40 a bottle, and they don't. That's like 6 years' salary for those people. So they're not drinking that there. I have been to Fiji. They're not drinking that Fijian berry juice there in Fiji. I've been to these places. Most people never get to those places. I've been to those places, okay? So, but what happened? You had a company launch, they had success, because by the way, those are good products. Now you saw the chart from Cynthia. Obviously we have a much higher ORAC rating. She didn't even mention this, but she, you know, you gotta, when you saw that chart with the ORAC, and it was, here was, you know, 200, 300, 400, 600, 800, and then we were up here at like 1,500. What she didn't say, the one in the middle, I don't think you said this, was Welch's grape juice, which costs like, you know, $2.79 a bottle. And there were some ones to the left of Welch's grape juice that sell for $40 or $50 a bottle. I mean, they were on the right of Welch's grapefruit. They sell for $40 or $50 a bottle, and their ORAC rating is lower than the Welch's grapefruit you buy at the supermarket for $3 or whatever it costs over there. So, but you did have a company start 20 years ago with that type of product, and they did really well. So somebody knocked them off, and then someone else knocked them off, and someone else knocked them off. And for 20 years, virtually every company that joined the business came in with a magic berry juice. And you know what? The story was really sexy the first time around, but after the 500th time around, it loses a little of the luster. Compensation plans. There were every company, you know, Amway and Shackley started this profession in 1956. They both had stair-step breakaway plans. And you see, now I'm talking jargon now. I'm talking business-specific stuff that you wouldn't hear me talk about this in a regular opportunity. I told you I want to talk leadership stuff with you guys, so I'm going to get down and dirty with this. But so you had 1956. Dr. Forrest Shackley started the Shackley Corporation, and the two guys in Michigan started what 3 years later became the Amway Corporation. All right, they were both stair-step breakaway plans, and then every company that joined the business was a stair-step breakaway plan. And then in the 80s or so, somebody came up with the unilevel plan. Well, that was a sexy plan. It was really hot for 4 or 5 years because their claim to fame was that little people could make big money quickly. You could make a lot of money. You know, you could make several $100s your first month in that business. And that was kind of revolutionary because you know how it is. If you joined Amway and Shackley, when you joined Amway, if your first check was $2.17, your sponsor had a party for you, right? If you were in for 6 months and you were making $15, $20 a month, you were like a superstar, okay? And if you got, you know, if you were in for 5 years and you made $3,000 a month, they built a statue of you in Michigan in 80. This was a slow build. Because that was the nature of human nature back then. We were, you know, mothers used to start cooking dinner at 10 in the morning. They would put a roast in the oven, right? I mean, my mother, you know, she couldn't do it because she was working, but then when crock pots came out, right, they'd put stuff in at 8 in the morning. They'd be, you know, nowadays you got a woman standing in front of a microwave saying, hurry up, you know, because dinner takes 90 seconds to make. I mean, the whole world has changed. So, no, you know, so it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. Because it don't matter. See, this is the thing. If you get a flat tire on your way here, that seems like bad news to you. But the guy who owns the tire store, that's great news. Because he's got a daughter he needs to send to college too. When they're zigging, you got to be zagging. Right? So, what was I talking about? I lost my...
80s is unit level.
Unilevel.
Okay, so... so, unilevels got hot. Well, then it played out that they didn't really work. And every company that started as a unilevel either went out of business or they had to change the plan. Because it was really good for people to make a couple $100s up front, but none of the leaders made any money. This created a leadership drain at the top of the plan, and no company can survive a leadership drain. If you bring in your talent, you train them, you guide them, they get to the top, and then they say, well, wait, there's no money here. I'm going to make more money on the other side of the fence. No company, so the unilevel died. Then the matrix got hot for a while. And the matrix would be where you place people in a certain structure and you had a finite, so it might be a 3x5 matrix, meaning you could just sponsor 3 people wide and then you could get paid on 5 levels deep. And everybody had that 3x5 matrix. Well, that ran into problems in the 80s with the Postal Service. And they said, well, we consider that a lottery because people are just getting placed in a structure without knowing why or where, and we see that like a lottery, so we're going to declare it illegal. So they changed some things and they made it where you could place people in the structure. And so the matrix survived the legal scrutiny, but wasn't a big player in the profession. There's only one company, major company, that still does anything like that after 60-some years. And then the binaries came about. And here's why the binaries came about. And the binary, by the way, is really just a 2 by infinity matrix, is actually what it is. So why the binary plans came about is because the government was cracking down on front-loading companies. Because you had the famous water filter company, which pioneered the front-loading idea. They say, Cat, if you get $50,000 worth of water filters, you can be car qualified your first month. You're gonna break this rank, and you're gonna get this pin, and we're gonna put you in the magazine, and you're gonna walk across the stage, and all your friends are gonna be so excited because they see you get a car the first month. They're all gonna join right away, and they'll be getting big orders, and they'll be getting cars the first month. Well, of course she got a car the first month. She put 50 grand in it. Only problem is month 2, she's got $50,000 worth of water filters sitting in a garage, and she can't sell them. Month 6, she's trying them at the flea market. She's still not selling them there. So now you get a lot of people with $50,000 worth of water filters, or $40,000 worth of magic fiber cookies sitting in their garage, and the attorneys general say, you know what? We're going to start closing these places down, because this is not ethical business practice. If somebody cannot use or resell the product that they're buying in a reasonable amount of time, like we're talking 60 to 90 days, we don't think that's a legitimate business opportunity, and we're going to close them down. Hence, the binary plan came around. Because now the con artists, and you make no mistake, binary plans were created by con artists. They were created as a new way to front load people. Because now I could bring someone into business, and instead of front loading them with $50,000 worth of water filters, I could sell them income centers. So I could say, so when you come in, you know, here you are, you got this income center here that you're making money on. You can also buy the 2 income centers right underneath yourself. And then you also buy the 4 income centers right underneath those 2, and you could buy the 8 right underneath the 4. So now, what happens, when you sponsor your first person, you put them here, and you're gonna make money on this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And when people join here, you make it here, and here, and here. You're gonna make money 1, 3, 7, 15. You're gonna make money 15 different ways. Or even more, because they were selling people even more. And there's no inventory in the garage for the attorney generals to find. Because the income centers are just air. They're in the ethers, nobody can see them. So if you wanted to start a company, do the rah-rah hype and the smoke and mirrors, and get out for 2 years later and take $60 million or $80 million to the Cayman Islands and live happily ever after, the binary plan was the perfect way to do it. Well, what happened? Of course, the regulators started to figure that out, so they started going after binary plan companies. Like in Malaysia, to this day, if you're a binary plan in Malaysia, you'll go to prison. It's illegal in the country of Malaysia to have a binary plan, and other places around the world. So you got 4 types of plans. 60-some years, every single company that joined did one of these 4 types of plans. 2005, what happens? Agile is the first company that says, let's just erase let's just start with a white canvas. If we were going to build the perfect compensation plan, what would it be? Would it be, I mean, should we choose one of these 4? Or what about if we studied each of those 4 and we took the best elements of each of those and got rid of the bad elements of each of those? What could we create? And that was the Quadra plan. That changed the game. You know how many companies have knocked off our comp plan now? More companies than have even knocked off our gels now. I mean, now, you know, instead of mimicking juices, they mimic gels. Instead of mimicking binary plans, because there's the other thing you need to know. There was a 20-year period where network marketing, you know, you get paid on the efforts of lots of people. And that was the mind virus of all network marketing companies for 60 years. When Agile created the leverage matching bonus, it changed dramatically. Because what happened is, instead of getting paid on the efforts of other people, you get paid on the success of other people. Cynthia mentioned I'm the top income earner in the world. Well, I'm very proud of the fact that I'm the top income earner. But I'm more proud of the fact that I am the top income earner in the world because I help the most people reach the highest levels of success. And that's what makes me the top income earner in the world. I've helped more people make more money. And that's the way true prosperity should work. That's the magic of the quadruplan. So why I'm telling you all that? Well, if we say we're going to go into the golden era of network marketing, you know, and we think the young, emerging, innovative companies are going to do the best, well, who comes to mind of young, innovative, emerging companies? The first company that did a first fresh product idea in 15 years. The first company to innovate the compensation plan in 65 years. Again, look at the trends. Get in front of the elephant. Dig a big hole. Here's what do we know. Here's another thing I mentioned in the book. This is a linear trend, but it's a very long-term linear trend. And I want you to think about this. The percentage of the American diet, and by the way, you can say the English diet, the Australian diet, the French diet, the German diet, the human diet. The percentage of the human diet, which consists of frozen food, microwave food, fast food, and fake food. And the biggest of those categories is fake food, by the way. Yep. There's a lot of things that are fake food. We've been convinced that they're food because the advertising agencies have told us that. Cake and cookies and chips. We've been told, but that's not real food. You know, real food is fruits and vegetables and nuts, and things that are made from fruits and vegetables and nuts. So there's a lot of fake food that we consume that fills us up. And it might even taste really sweet, okay? You know, nacho cheese Doritos taste really good to me. You know, how much real fruits and vegetables and nuts make those up? I don't know. You know, Jell-O? What is Jell-O? Isn't that made like from bone marrow or, you know, antifreeze or something? I don't even know what that's. I know it's blue. I don't think there's supposed to be any blue food. Is there? You know, what is the, so what is the, from the time, and no matter what age you are, say, when you were a child, what was the percentage of fake, frozen, fast, and, you know, fake food, fake, frozen, fast, and microwave food? Those are the four. What was the percentage of the diet when you were little? And what's the percentage now? And what's the percentage going to be 10 years from now? Because it's only going to go up for the next 10 years or 15 years. Because the pace of lifestyle has gotten so much more hectic, so much more frantic. I mean, it's just, I mean, how many meals do we consume in a car now? That we go through a drive-through and eat that meal in a car. It's a mind-boggling number. It's a mind-boggling number compared to 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You know, I lived with a Colombian girl. We went down back to Colombia to visit her parents. Her mother goes to the market every day and gets the fruits and vegetables for the stuff that she makes for dinner. That was like 15 years ago. Lots of women did that. How many women still do that today? Or how many are doing fake food, frozen food, microwave food, drive-through food? Because of the pace of life. How many mothers are home just being, you know, taking care of their family versus working 1 or 2 or 3 jobs? The world has changed. So, you don't need a crystal ball. You don't need to be a mystical, genie to know the increasing percentage of fake food, fast food, frozen food, microwave food will directly cause an increase in heart attacks, stroke, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, and premature death. There's no debate. You bring in any medical scientist, doctor, health care worker, I mean, they will tell you, yes, if there's empirical, unassailable evidence to show that as our percentage of diet increases in those 4 categories, the percentage of degenerative diseases will increase. And you know what? That will make a lot of people rich. There's lots of heart transplant surgeons and a lot of weight loss clinics and a lot of staple colon surgery places and plastic surgery places and liposculpture places and cholesterol medicines and blood pressure medicines and pharmaceutical companies, and lots of people are going to make a lot of money because it doesn't, remember, there's no good, there's no bad. You don't like the flat tire, but the guy who owns the tire store, that's good news, right? You know, you don't like to have a heart attack, but to the pharmaceutical company, that's good news. To the hospital, that's good news. You look at that. You represent that brand. Then you drive around New York and you say, another McDonald's? Yes! They're building another Burger King? Oh, this is my annuity. Another Taco Bell? Another KFC? Oh, this is just money in the bank. Money in the bank. Come on, Papa John. Come on, Pizza Hut. Come on, Krispy Kreme. Come on, Dunkin' Donuts. Come on down, baby. It's just money in the bank. Because when the pendulum swings so much this way, it has to go back the other way. And there will come a point, you know, I'm saying in the book, there will come a point where pharmaceuticals will be out and people will be going back to healthy living and diet and exercise and living well and getting rest and sleep and, you know, the natural alternatives. My great aunt, she was like 79 or something, just sick all the time, at the doctors all the time. I finally said, I'm coming up there, I'm picking you up, I'm bringing you down to Miami, and I'm going to take you to my doctor. Because I had like a holistic doctor who believes in natural stuff. She was on like 18 different prescriptions. So I made her bring everything. We put them all in a shopping bag, and I brought them down, and I brought them to my doctor. She had 8 different counteracting prescriptions. That one prescription was counteracting the other one. Because she went to like 7 different doctors, and they're each prescribing, and nobody even asks what the other doctors were prescribing. And the pharmacist didn't care, and the insurance company didn't care, Medicare didn't, nobody noticed anything. Until I brought her and all of her bag of drugs down to my doctor, you know. And when it gets enough to that level, people say, well, you know, maybe it's the other way. Maybe instead of Vicodin, it's Celadrin and Chondroitin and glucosamine and MSM. So, if you really get this, you're going to go crazy for the next 68 days. You know, how do you grow a market? How do you grow a market? You start with one person with a vision. You know, how did I have 500 people in Latvia the other night, last week? 2 women. 2 women in Riga, who actually is my 2nd and 3rd level, and my 1st level quit. So I sponsored a guy, who sponsored a lady, who sponsored a lady, and the guy quit. So my 2nd level is really my 1st level, but she's my 2nd level. Lady named Iga, who's married, has a husband, So they're a couple doing the business together, but Iga is the driver. And Iga sponsored Marita. And Marita is a single mother raising a son, had a dreadful marriage that ended in a really bad way, had a business that ended in a really bad way. So she's a single mother with a teenage kid who desperately needs to make money, and make money now. And she got into Agile and said, you know, I got to escape from my life of quiet desperation, and Agile looks like the vehicle that can help me do that. And those two people in Riga, Latvia, where products are, not all the products are in stock there, they're not very easy to get, the shipping is ridiculous. They pay about 5 times more to ship over there than you pay here. So that, and the economy is much worse there than it is here. So it's very expensive for those products. And they had 500 people in a room for me on last Wednesday night. Because of the vision of 2 women who have a dream. So how do you start a market? Whether it's Jersey City, whether it's New York City, whether it's any city around here. It starts with that vision of one person who sets up a cash flow class in their living room. And they get 5 people there, 7 people there. And they play the DVD. And somebody gets it. 2 people get it, 1 of them joins the Fit Challenge, 3 of them leave and don't do anything. But a couple of them join, and 1 of them becomes a customer. And those people, you schedule their cash flow classes, and you schedule a couple of them within the first week to 10 days, 2 or 3 of them. And they have, so they're inviting, and they've got their list, and they go through the, you know, the training manual, and they come up with, okay, here's my candidate list. I'm not going to prejudge, I'm not going to keep anybody off the list, I'm just going to put down everybody I know. Who sold me this, who lived on the left, who lived on the right, who lived upstairs, who lived downstairs, who did I go to college with, who did I go to high school with, who did I serve in the military with, who sold me my Avon, who sold me my car, who sold me my carpet, who sold me my stereo, who's my dry cleaner, who's my pharmacist, who's my doctor, who's my veterinarian, who's my lawyer, who's my attorney, who's my this, who's my that. And they get a list of 200 or 300 or 400 names. And then they just get into focus, and they invite. They set aside 45 minutes, they get on the phone and they just invite, and they're on a call and off a call within 90 seconds. If you're on a call, if an invite call for more than 2 minutes, you're talking too much. Yep. Right? It should be less than 2 minutes every call, and they set aside a block of time on a Sunday night. They got a cash flow class on a Tuesday night and a Thursday night, and they just pick up the phone and they call and they invite and they invite and they invite, and they get 30 calls done in 45 minutes or 60 minutes. And so 30 calls, they get 8 people who are committed to Tuesday, and they get 9 people who are committed to Thursday. And you know what? 8 people don't really show up on Tuesday, only 5 show up. And 9 don't really show up on Thursday, only 4 show up, or 6 show up. But 1 of them gets it, 2 of them get it. And then we duplicate the process. And we do that again. And the original person does their 2nd cash flow class. They do their 3rd cash flow class. They've got some people long distance, so they set up a Gel Freedom site, the replicated site. And they're emailing links, so people are watching the cash flow class online. So they're working their local market, and they're finding long distance people to watch the presentation on the replicated site. And they get some spark there, and when the right spark develops, they go and work with that lead. But they concentrate on their home market. And then all of a sudden you have 15 people, or 18 people, or 21 people who are doing cash flow classes. And you say, hey, we can do an ABB, an Agile Business Briefing, with that people. If we're all inviting this thing, we can get a room reasonable. We don't need a microphone yet. We don't need a bunch of AV. We don't need, we can get 40 people in a room and have an ABB. Or an ABB followed by a power training, something like that. And then we're going to sell tickets to the major event, to Agile World. We're going to get them to Agile World. We know if we get them to Agile World, we'll change their life forever. They'll never be the same. We're going to build to the next major event. If I say, how is my Ukrainian team building? Again, under very difficult circumstances. We don't even have auto ship in Russia. You know that? It's against the law to have auto ship in the country of Russia. So if you knew the things that Atta and Vera and my leaders over there go through, I mean, people are, they deliver products by train, they go pick it up at bus stations, they have to go to the office and pay cash, they don't have credit cards. I mean, if you just knew some of the challenges that these people go through, and it doesn't matter because they have a dream. And you know, if you go to, and I hope that the serious people in this room will not only be at Agile World in September, but you will also be at Art Jonak's Mastermind event in Houston in November. This is the preeminent event of the profession. This is where the top people from all network marketing companies go. Once it's the safe event where you could bring your team. Nobody's trying to sponsor anyone else. It's the people who view this as a profession. And so, you know, Jordan Adler will be on the stage. He's the top income earner in Send Out Cards. And Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady from Monavie, top guys there, brilliant guys. They'll be on the stage. Donna Johnson from Arbonne will be there. This is a lady has 2,000 people in her organization who drive bonus cars from Arbonne. Okay, she'll be there. Donna Impson, who's got about 400,000 people around the world out of a company out of Asia, will be there. The top people. And here's the fascinating thing you will notice at those things. The greatest honor you can get is to be asked to speak at that event, because you know there's so many people who want to speak at it, and Art doesn't approve almost any of them, because there's people, they just want to go up and pitch and talk about their company and try to recruit everyone else, or they did it dishonestly, or they got a deal, they didn't really earn their rank, and so he weeds through all of that. He doesn't put anybody on that stage till he's met them, he's been there, he goes to their events, he studies their companies, he learns everything about them. This will be the 8th one this year. There's been 7 so far. There's only one person in the world who has spoke at all 7 of them. And you're listening to him right now. Okay? The only guy who's ever spoken, there's nobody in the world who's spoken at all. Some have done 5, one guy's done 6, I'm the only guy, and I'll be the only guy who does 8. Because of course I've been invited next time, you know, this coming one. And let me tell you, one of the things you're gonna see when you go there is, and all my diamonds will be there. I want my diamonds there, right? And I want all my leaders, my top leaders there. I want you to see the respect that Agile diamonds have in that room. In particular, Agile A-team diamonds, our team. And here's the only analogy I can give you. It's like the Navy SEALs or the Special Forces or something. I mean, I think we honor and are grateful and respect everybody who serves our armed forces, right? No matter what country you're in, right? You know, people in Australia are proud of their military as people in America are here, and people in Britain are of their soldiers as well. And then you have the Special Forces, you know, people like Craig Bradley. You know, how does that's what Craig Bradley did. You know, people say, how does Craig weather everything he's been through with all those deaths in his family and his lifetime? That's how, because he's a different breed of cat, that guy. Okay, he's a Special Forces guy. So you respect everybody, but then there's this smaller group. If you go to Israel, it's the Mossad. You know, the people who are in the Mossad, those are the most trained, you know, fly an El Al airline sometime and look at the flight attendants, okay? It's very strange because they have men flight attendants who have forearms about this big, the ones who work in first class, because they're up near the cockpit. It's very, you know, it's like kind of strange that those flight attendants are trained that way, right? Because, you know, there's the military and there's the intelligence and then there's the special branches, all right? You go to this event in Houston and you're going to see the A-team diamonds get that respect of the Special Forces in our genre because of what we've done, because of the system that we've set up, because of things like what Atta and Vera and those guys in Russia do, how they built those organizations under the most difficult of conditions. Shai and Yafa Samuel building an organization in Israel in the middle of the war with Lebanon, doing meetings, going down into bomb shelters in the middle of meetings because the air raid sirens were going off. I mean, in the face of all that adversity, still to put together what we have put together, this extraordinary structure of support and training and system. We have all that in place. So we are so structured for such growth, and it all starts, though, here's the other thing I would say that you'll learn when you go to something like the Art Jonix event in Houston. So you talk to the Arbonne guy, and you talk to the Monavie guy, and you talk to the Herbalife guy, and you talk to this lady and that lady, and all these different companies, and you say, well, where's your hot market? And this one will tell you Taiwan, this one will tell you Utah, one will tell you Idaho, somebody tells you Tennessee. You say, how can that be? The answer is local leadership. If you look at Arbonne, their number one market is Tennessee. And why is that? They got a strong leader in Tennessee. So the population isn't there, the demographics aren't there, but it doesn't matter. If you have that strong leadership, you create it. There's enough in any market. It does. Small town, big city, little village, it doesn't matter. Farming communities, you can go, you know, Sunrider, their top income earner was in Utah. Another place there, in Melaleuca, their top person was in Idaho. In Idaho Falls. Have you ever been to Idaho Falls? I've been there, okay? There ain't a lot there. There ain't a lot there. But if you got local leadership, so how do you grow New York City? How do you grow New Jersey? Local leadership. Why did I put you guys on the map? You know, I'd rather talk, let me not affirm that. I don't rather that. I'd rather be right here, right now. That's why I'm here. But there would be conventional wisdom would say, well, wouldn't it make more sense, Gage, if you get on a plane and go somewhere where you could have 1,000 people or 2,000 people like you did in Italy the other day, or I had 2,000 in one place on Friday and 1,200 at the other place on Saturday, so I can impact more people? As a rule, yes, and that's what I've done for 5 years, and that's what's grown the team. I go where the action is, you know. Whenever I'm talking to Philip is like, well, you know, in North America, nobody, and I say, I don't care about what you tell me about North America, South America, Egypt, Ethiopia, it doesn't matter. You know what I found out? When the money goes to my bank account, my banker doesn't care where the volume came from. They just say, send me more, okay? And they don't care where the CV came from. So my job as a leader is to go where I can support the most people. So for now, that means Russia, that means Ukraine, that means Italy, that means, you know, places like that, right? Kuala Lumpur, what I got going on over there in Asia, those places. But when you know, if you look at, you know, where's the future, you still say, you know, what is the #1 country in the world for network marketing? Where did network marketing begin? Where's the nexus? Where's the leadership? You got to say, the United States. And we have such untapped potential here in North America. So I made a commitment to Sam Higginson and Jeff and some of the guys, hey, I'm going to carve out some time. And I'm going to come back to North America, and I'm going to find some talented people. And I'm going to help those people develop. And help develop North America. That's why I'm here today. That's a conscious choice that I made. This, you know, I mean, look at the size of this room. I mean, it's ridiculous for me to if, you know, on a rational, logical level, say, would I get on a plane, get in a hotel, fly, when I could be in my beautiful home with my almost remodeled bathrooms, living under a palm tree, looking out over the water, watching the sailboats bob in Biscayne Bay? Why would I be in Jersey City, New Jersey, for God's sake?
You won't be.
I'm here because I know the potential of this room. I know the talent we have here. Ross, I know what you can do with this thing. Cynthia, I know what you can do with this thing. I know where we can go with this thing. But it's going to take you making a conscious decision. Kat, you're going to have to talk to the kids. You're going to have to talk to yourself. You're going to have to talk to each other. You're going to have to say, listen, we have to make a conscious decision to get out of balance for 68 days. Cynthia, you got to look at your other business. You got to look at all of your obligations. You say, I got to make a conscious decision to get out of balance for 68 days. Senior, same thing. You got to make a conscious decision, right? You, young man, you got to make a. So it's funny, if you go to these self-development workshops, you know, I've seen this a million times. Everybody teaches the same thing. They say, here's your life, and you have the, you know, your work life and your church and your family and your recreation, and you know, everything should be in balance. Or I've seen it done this way where they say, you know, where's your recreation is here, and your spiritual life is here, and your work life is here, and your family life is here, and they suggest that these should all be in balance. It's one of those things that sounds good. It looks good. It looks good on paper. It doesn't work in the real world. Nobody is ever in balance, and if you are, it's for 3.5 seconds, and then you're out of balance again. Life is just like the airplane. You know, I'm going to fly home to Miami today, and that plane will be out of target 90% of the time. But it's always course correcting, and the autopilot is always going to bring it back on target, so it eventually, hopefully, lands at the right airport tonight when I go home. Life is about course correcting, and it's about choices. The choices you make, and it's never the big choices that dramatically alter most people's lives. Most people, the big choices: who should I marry? What house should I buy? What university should I go to? Well, you know, the big momentous decisions that most people make, they think about them and they put a lot of stock in them, and they usually make fairly good ones. Yet most people, you know, who in the hell would write a book? Why you're dumb, sick, and broke, and how to get smart, healthier. I mean, this doesn't like endear you to a lot of people. It just, it's just something about it when you tell people, you know, why are you dumb, sick, and broke? A lot of people, they don't relate really well to that for some reason. But realistically, if we look at the world and say how many people are healthy, happy, and prosperous, it's not a big number. So why is that? And I suggest it's not the big choices they make. It's the little choices they make. It's the choice on Tuesday night. Do I work my business? Do I watch American Idol? It's the choice every morning. Do I, you know, have breakfast at a 7-Eleven, or do I get on the treadmill? It's, you know, do I eat a healthy dinner or a garbage dinner? Do I find time to exercise? Do I find time for my spouse? Do I find time for my kids? Do I find time to have a conversation with my children? Do I find time for my spiritual nourishment? Did I set goals? Do I have a plan for my goals? Am I working closer to get to my dreams every day? It's those little daily, those hundreds of decisions we make on a daily basis. So here's what I can tell you about 68 days from now. 68 days from now, we will walk into the Alliance Energy Center in Salt Lake City, Utah, which is the arena where the Utah Jazz play. Thousands of people will have come from all over the world, people, success-minded, agile team members who have a dream and a vision of a better life. And they will come, and by the way, you know who's the country has the most registrations? Russia. The hardest country to get a visa from, the most expensive country to fly from, the low, horrible economy. We have more people registered from Russia than any other country. More from Russia than the United States, by the way, which is criminal if you're an American. That's criminal, okay? So all those people are going to be there, and it will change the game. This is one of those, you know, Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called The Tipping Point. Fascinating book. If you haven't read that, I'd suggest you read it. And there are tipping points in any movement, tipping points in every trend, tipping points in business. This will be one of those tipping points for Agile enterprises. Because having all those thousands of, that'll be the biggest convention we've ever had. And that will be a tipping point. That will move the dial. Things will change after that day. The competitors will look at us differently. We will look at ourselves differently. The people who are in that arena will look at themselves differently. They will build belief. They will develop skills. They will gain confidence. They will leave that place different people than they were when they walked into it. It will change you to be there at that event. It will change Agile, and Agile will change the world. And I know that sounds melodramatic. I don't care. It's just, it is what it is. I have been to, you know, down there in Costa Rica painting the school in the country there for those kids and helping them get books and do the things. I have met Jessie May, who had the double cleft palate that we did the surgery for, and saw her able to smile now and transform her life. I've seen firsthand the work we do for the foundation. I've seen firsthand the people who can make their car payments now or make their mortgage payments now because of the $500 a month or the $1,500 a month that they make with Agile Enterprises. I've seen my diamonds. Billy Looper, who made $1.2 million. A guy was born in a trailer park in North Carolina and couldn't spell MLM when he got in this business. 1.2 million and counting. You know, I know what it's done for the Zaleckis. I know what it's done for Niti. I know what it's done for Shai and Yafa and Alberto and Daphne and Jaime and Sarah Lokier. I know that what we do makes a difference. So that's why I throw off the covers every morning. I'm excited to do what I do. I know that it has meaning, it has value. And I know what this convention is going to mean to this company, and I know what this company means in the bigger picture. And I know where the profession of network marketing is going as we enter this golden era in 13, 14, 15, and maybe 16 and 17. I know where it's going. And again, I don't need a crystal ball to do it. Just be a critical thinker and look at the evidence there, and you can see it's very clear where it's going and what this can mean. Tremendous challenges we're going to face. But those are where the opportunities are. So you've got to make a decision to get out of balance, to go crazy for a season. A season. 68 days. You have to say, how many cash flow classes can I get done before the end of July? How many possible levels deeper could I get by the end of July? How many cash flow classes? How many people can I get? And that means going back tonight and doing a new list tonight, finding your Fast Start training manual, looking at your candidate list, and if you don't have one and you just started today, doing that tonight. And say, okay, what's 3 days that I could have a cash flow class in the next 10 days? 3 times, 3 places, and let me pick up the phone and start inviting. And how many cash flow classes could I possibly do between now and the next 67 days? And there will be people, not many at all, but there will be people who will join Agile 2 days before Agile World, and they'll still be there in Salt Lake City. There will be somebody from Florida, somebody from California, somebody from New York, somebody from Ohio, who literally joined 2, 3, 5 days before the convention, and they will get the time off from work, find the babysitter, find the dance sitter, buy the ticket, get the hotel room, pay the last minute price, and they'll still be there, because they'll get it. So the clock won't run out, even though obviously the more people you get registered earlier, the better your compliance is gonna be in terms of people who actually get there. Because they'll get the time off from work easier, they'll get a cheaper plane ticket, they'll be able to find a roommate, get the right hotel deal, you know, do the things that make it easier. And that always will raise the percentage of people. So you need to back end load the activity to this week, not the week before the convention. Foolish people will do the opposite. They will try to backload it the last 2 weeks before the convention. All of a sudden, are such game changers because of demonstrable, quantifiable results. You with this product, the joining cartilage one, right? This is such a breakthrough product that it's, again, you could say, hey, I love all the products, but there are some from a marketing standpoint, from a emotional standpoint, for how they impact people. This product, you don't, again, you know, Agile didn't invent fucoidan. Fucoidan comes from algae. They just found where in the world the algae has the highest concentration of fucoidan, and then found the best delivery mechanism for fucoidan. Cynthia told you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of peer-reviewed studies. It's great for your respiratory system. It's great for your digestive tract. It's basically food for your immune system. This is one of the best products of any company anywhere in the world that has it. This product here is even better, because this is the best product that any company anywhere in the world has. I mean, people say, well, what's the greatest thing since sliced bread? This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. This is everybody on the board. We said, get us a green product. Get us, you know, some of us wanted a barley green product. Some of us wanted a spirulina product. Some, you know, we all had different. And then the Joel Rockwood and the researchers went and created a product with spinach and peppermint and spearmint and barley green and wheatgrass and spirulina and chlorophyll and chlorella. I mean, this is the ultimate, ultimate, ultimate superfood. There's nobody anywhere in the world that has a better product than this. Okay, this is just stupid crazy how amazing this product is. It nourishes, it cleanses, and it detoxes. You cannot, you know, this is the, you go to any house in anywhere in America and put this product in the kitchen, this is the healthiest food in the kitchen of anyone. I don't care, they have peaches and grapes and watermelon. No. The healthiest food in their house is this product right here. That's how breakthrough this is. So, there are some products that change the game. There's two coming out in Salt Lake City. Let me say this really carefully worded so I don't get arrested or in prison or lawsuit. There's a product that will address a medical reality that occurs from declining age, advancing age. Okay, from advancing age. There's a condition that happens which right now is only treated with equipment outside the body. It's the best way to say it. It takes equipment outside the body that this product will address from a nutritional standpoint. And there are hundreds of millions of people in the world affected by this situation. So that's the first product. Then is the second product. The second product is exclusively created only for people who breathe. This is a product. The best way I could describe this product without getting into trouble is to tell you that this is the closest thing to Ponce de Leon's Fountain of Youth that you will ever find in a nutritional supplement. Because this is a product which gives your body the precursors it needs at the cellular level for regeneration. And that product will change the world. And we're the only company with that product. We're the only, there's nothing like it out there anywhere. There's nobody who's got anything close, not in a juice, not in a pill, not in a tablet, not in a powder, not in anything. This is that big of a scientific breakthrough. This will instantly become the most talked about product of all the network marketing. You will have 35 companies that will be rushing to try to create this type of product within 90 days after the Agile World Convention. But they will be too late because there's some proprietary technology in the process that they're not going to be able to duplicate. They're going to try to do supplementation thing, but this is something that you can't supplement. Your body has to produce it itself. There's things that it'll take them 15 years to catch up with us. And when they catch up with that, we're going to have 150 other products that they're way behind on by then. So, why am I here today? One reason only, to tell you, you have 68 days. Make the most of them. Peace.